Within the labyrinthine alleyways and beneath the perpetually scorching sun of the ancient, vibrant city of Agrabah, resided the cunning but fundamentally good-hearted youth, Aladdin, whose primary occupation was skillfully surviving the systemic injustices of extreme poverty. His daily routine consisted of navigating the crowded, spice-scented marketplace, adeptly dodging the overzealous royal guards, all while constantly nurturing a fervent, secret desire for a dignified life far removed from constant hunger and threadbare garments. Aladdin's most profound and unyielding ambition was focused entirely on liberating his frail, aging mother from the heavy burden of endless toil, envisioning a future where she could finally rest comfortably and peacefully in a secure home. One deceptively ordinary afternoon, a tall, elegantly robed man of commanding presence, whose eyes held a strangely unsettling, cold calculation, approached Aladdin, weaving an elaborate, fabricated tale of being his long-lost, extremely wealthy maternal uncle. This imposing, false relative was none other than a formidable, power-hungry sorcerer originating from the mysterious, distant Maghreb, meticulously orchestrating a complex scheme to acquire a potent, world-altering magical artifact for his destructive ends. The sorcerer, employing carefully rehearsed, persuasive eloquence, promised Aladdin a swift, unbelievable transformation into a tremendously affluent and universally respected nobleman, an irresistible offer designed to exploit the boy's deepest vulnerabilities. Completely overcome by the intoxicating lure of instantaneous fortune and desperate for a radical change in circumstances, the knave Aladdin wholeheartedly embraced the outwardly generous but inherently treacherous proposal. Ignoring the faint warning signs of the man's cold demeanor, their clandestine journey led them far away from the familiar city sounds, trekking laboriously across the vast, silent, golden dunes until they eventually arrived at an isolated, ominous clearing dominated by an enormous, intricately carved stone slab. After performing a spectacular, terrifying array of magical gestures and whispering dark, guttural incantations, the massive stone slab violently lifted, grudgingly exposing the gaping, impossibly dark maw of the legendary cavern below. The sorcerer, his voice dropping to a low, intense conspiratorial tone, explained that this forbidden locale was the infamous Cave of Wonders, which held countless ancient riches, but most importantly, a single, unassuming bronze lamp. Aladdin was sternly instructed to make the perilous descent, retrieve only the specific dust-caked oil lamp, and rigorously avoid touching any of the tempting, distracting gold and precious stones littering the floor. Despite the overwhelming, paralyzing fear gripping his heart, Aladdin resolutely stepped into the echoing blackness, driven forward by the profound hope that this solitary act would be the definitive key to unlocking his new, prosperous destiny. The subterranean space was a breathtaking, dizzying spectacle, illuminating the sheer magnitude of forgotten treasure, cascading waterfalls of jewels and gleaming mountains of antique gold coins, a sight intended to test the strongest resolve. Successfully resisting the powerful, avaricious temptation, Aladdin carefully located the desired artifact, finding the tarnished, heavy oil lamp nestled deep within the inner recesses of the dusty chamber. Upon returning to the illuminated entrance, Aladdin cautiously requested the sorcerer's strong aid to pull him out of the deep shaft before handing over the lamp, a moment of street-smart wisdom born of ingrained distrust, driven to a frenzy by his burning obsession and utter lack of patience. The sorcerer reacted with savage fury, violently slamming the massive stone lid back into place, sealing Aladdin's fate with a sickening, final thud. Utterly abandoned and consumed by absolute despair, Aladdin slumped against the cold stone, realizing the immense tragedy of his situation. Surrounded by boundless wealth that now served only as a cold, pointless monument to his imminent demise, while nervously pacing the confined space, rubbing his trembling hands together for comfort, Aladdin unknowingly brushed the ancient, gritty surface of the plain oil lamp he still tightly clutched, with an immediate, earth-shaking detonation of noise and a dizzying funnel of smoking, ethereal light, a colossal, muscle-bound genie, radiant in shifting shades of sapphire and azure, instantly materialized before the astonished youth. The booming, reverberating voice of the genie announced his eternal existence as the powerful, magical slave to the lamp, now unequivocally bound to serve the commands of its frightened, bewildered new master, quickly transitioning from terror to an exhilarating, dizzying comprehension. Aladdin suddenly grasped the incredible, mind-boggling reality that he possessed a force capable of manipulating the very fabric of existence. His very first, deeply heartfelt command bypassed all material desires. Focusing purely on survival, he simply wished to be instantly transported, safe and sound, far away from the dark tomb and back to his small, familiar house. The omnipresent genie granted the earnest plea effortlessly, instantly dissolving the physical space between them, safely delivering Aladdin and the magical vessel back into the comforting familiarity of his mother's humble kitchen. Over time, Aladdin meticulously learned the intricacies and strict limitations of the three powerful wishes, understanding that true, spontaneous love and resurrection from death were fundamentally outside the genie's omnipotence. He carefully utilized his second wish, meticulously commanding the genie to meticulously fabricate an identity for him as a fabulously wealthy, charming, and highly respected prince of unquestionable royal lineage. Backed by the genie's reality-altering magic, Aladdin quickly acquired a palatial, snow-white residence filled with priceless artifacts, along with a perfectly choreographed retinue of devoted, impeccably uniformed attendants. Completing his unbelievable transformation, this meticulously constructed royal facade provided Aladdin with the necessary social standing to formally petition the Sultan for the coveted hand of the exquisitely beautiful and fiercely intelligent Princess Jasmine. Princess Jasmine, renowned across the continents for her unwavering spirit and determined refusal to enter into an emotionally sterile, politically motivated marriage, regarded the new prince with initial, profound skepticism and reserve. Nevertheless, Aladdin's genuine warmth, his underlying innate humility, and shared adventurous spirit gradually broke down the princess's formidable defenses, culminating in a passionate, authentic union of deep affection. Their glorious, newfound marital bliss and the tranquility of the kingdom were violently shattered by the meticulous, patient reappearance of the relentlessly vindictive, dark-hearted sorcerer, concealing his malevolence beneath the guise of a harmless, wandering street peddler. The sorcerer loudly called out his deceptive, memorable offer of new lamps for old, banking on the ignorance of the palace staff. The unsuspecting Princess Jasmine, believing the tarnished old oil lamp was merely worthless clutter, carelessly exchanged the powerful artifact for the shiny, superficial brass one offered by the cunning old man. With the supreme power of the lamp finally secured, the triumphant sorcerer immediately commanded the heartbroken genie to magically and instantaneously relocate the entire enormous palace and the terrified princess to his remote, desolate desert fortress. Aladdin returned home from hunting to a horrifying void where his palace had stood and his beloved wife was missing, left completely alone with only the weak, secondary power of the ancient Ring's genie, utilizing the minor, but crucially helpful, power of the ring-dwelling genie. Aladdin was swiftly and secretly transported across the treacherous, dark waters directly to the isolated, forbidding site of the sorcerer's new stronghold. Displaying profound courage and sharp tactical thinking, he devised an intricate plan to personally recover the stolen lamp through clever subterfuge, entirely preserving his last powerful wish for the safety of the princess. In a climactic and intensely dramatic struggle of wits against dark magic, Aladdin expertly tricked the overconfident sorcerer, seizing the magical lamp back from his grasp at the peak of the villain's hubris. His very last and most selfless command to the genie was to permanently neutralize the great threat, banishing the wicked, treacherous sorcerer to an inescapable, silent dimension for the remainder of time. The entire majestic palace, with the beautiful, greatly relieved Princess Jasmine inside, was instantaneously and safely returned to its original, familiar location in Agrabah, signaling the definitive and joyful conclusion to the horrific ordeal. Demonstrating his supreme, noble character, Aladdin utilized his ultimate freedom to generously grant the loyal, ancient genie his complete and total emancipation from the lamp's bondage, ensuring that he and Princess Jasmine would forever live their extraordinarily happy lives together, solely sustained by their unwavering love, wisdom, and remarkable courage.